throughout history, warfare has changed focuses, sometimes in very jarring ways. An example was when people progressed from using swords and bows to muskets and cannons. Francis Marion was an Francis Marion was an American general during the American Revolution who also changed the way wars fought. Marion was born on a plantation in South Carolina and lived there his whole life. Marion fought in the French and Indian War where he fought against the Cherokee. During the beginning of the Revolution, Marion fought for the United States Army. After the siege of Charleston, which resulted in the fall of Charleston, he formed a partisan band. Marion's partisan band stayed within South Carolina, and he was to protect the British soldiers. Marion became known for his tactics of ambushing the British and then running into the swamps where the British couldn't get to, which is how he earned his nickname, Swamp Fox. He mostly stayed alone and worked, but occasionally worked with others. Marion worked with Nathaniel Greene during the Battle of Eutaw Springs. This shows how he was willing to work with others during the war. The impact of his life was popularizing guerrilla warfare and helping win the Revolutionary War. Francis Marion was a very important military leader who broke barriers of conventional warfare. Fighting in lines during warfare came about during the 1600s because muskets were very ineffective. To fix this, commanders made soldiers fight in rows, thus to maximize firepower. This strategy was used by nearly everyone using muskets at the time because it reduced the effects of the inaccuracy of the musket. The strategy increased after the invention of bayonets, because then they could fight in melee. This strategy was used for 200 years with little to no change, despite the increase in casualties during the wars. According to William McLaughlin, the lethality and inaccuracy of the muskets forced generals to begin lumping soldiers together so that they guaranteed to hit their target. This shows how the idea of soldiers fighting in lines using muskets was used during Francis Marion's time. Using this strategy, many wars were won or lost. And people from George Washington and Napoleon used this during their battles. It is significant because it gives information about the barriers that Francis Marion broke. The influence of the barrier was numerous. It caused empires to rise and fall. It caused an age of colonialism throughout the world. The barrier line formation impacted many events throughout the 200 years it was used. Since it was the primary strategy that was used in war from the 17th century. Using line strategy, Napoleon conquered most of Europe. In his article, Max Boot talks about how the American Revolution was a combination of ideas with conventional warfare and guerrilla warfare. All the way up to the Franco-Prussian War, line formation was used commonly in combat. Line formation was used for 200 years and was effective for the time. This is significant because it tells the impact of using line warfare. The impact was that all the events changed many things throughout history. After Napoleon, alliances were set up that caused World War I. Colonialism meant that the entire continent, such as Africa, was under European control. In 1757, Francis Marion started fighting in the French and Indian War. Marion fought for the British mostly against their former ally, the Cherokee. They beat the Cherokee and burned many of their villages to starve them out. Francis Marion learned something valuable from the Cherokee that he beat. Reed states, but it did teach Marion some important lessons about how to fight a war. The Cherokee did not fight the traditional manner either. With an overwhelming force, they used the landscape to their advantage and emerged to fight only when they had held a significant advantage. Marion quickly realized that these tactics would be incredibly effective. At the beginning of the Revolutionary War, the Americans and British fought using standard line strategy. The traditional line strategy played into the strength of the British, who had superior numbers of soldiers, training, and weapons. Lucky for America, Francis Marion escaped capture at Charleston, as he had broken his ankle and was not in the city when it fell. He stayed at his plantation until his injury healed, which was after the Battle of Camden. Camden caused most of South Carolina to fall into British hands. But Francis was finally ready. He formed a partisan band of both whites and African Americans. He started to use the strategy that he learned from the Cherokee when he fought against them. Based upon this strategy, he learned from fighting the Cherokee. He used the landscape to ambush the British in quick attacks that did not allow the British to use their line strategies, and then retreat quickly back into the swamps and woods of South Carolina. After Colonel Bannister Tarleton chased Marion for a long way through the swamps, he was credited with saying, "But as for this darn old fox, the devil himself could not catch him." After this, Marion became known as a swamp fox. This had a greater impact than his previous strategy. This is significant because it tells how Francis Marion learned to use guerrilla warfare and how he earned his nickname. The impact of this was that since Marion learned guerrilla warfare, he was able to use it in the American Revolution and overcome terror.
Although Francis Marion wasn't the only Revolutionary era figure to use irregular troops and guerrilla tactics, he certainly used them most famously and to greatest effect as he fought against the British occupation of South Carolina. Marion combined to great effect the key elements of stealth, agility, and attention to terrain. These were tactics that he learned from the Cherokee, who he fought against as a young man in the French and Indian War. Marion's exploits confounded the British, struck fear into local Tories, and the mystique of the swamp fox brought hope and security to the Patriots.
Francis Marion has a mixed life. He was a war hero who fought against the British and influenced history. He was also a slave owner for his entire life and did not oppose it. He was additionally brutal against the Cherokee who he fought against in the French and Indian War. He helped create the Trail of Tears that sent Native Americans from their homes. Francis Marion would burn down entire villages in hopes of starving out his enemy and killed innocent people. In an article, some Brits still feel pang of resentment from Marion's guerrilla style. British author Neil Norman, writing in the Evening Standard, called Marion a thoroughly unpleasant dude who was basically terrorist. This shows the mixed legacy in the field today. It also shows how some people will frame the French man as not as responsible. This is the European as an improving dimension of what French man is, influenced from his legacy. The impact of the Cherokee houses being burned down. However, it is additionally a significant impact to the people of the United States who live free from Great Britain. There are two main reasons that people deny Francis Marion broke barriers of conventional warfare. The first is that he took his strategy from the Cherokee, who he fought against. This one is partly true as he did take it from the Cherokee, but he helped popularize the use of guerrilla warfare amongst the Europeans. The second reason is his brutality to the British and Cherokee. The British even called him a terrorist. This is also true, but this does not take away from his accomplishments of using guerrilla warfare. This shows that, like most historical figures, the impressions of Francis Marion is mixed. He did a great deal of good, like revolutionizing guerrilla warfare and changing the way warfare works, but also did a great deal of bad, like owning slaves and burning down Cherokee villages. Francis Marion was a very important military general who changed the common form of warfare forever. If Francis Marion never existed, the world would be a very different place. A very different and changed place. The line formation probably would not still be used as it was phased out during World War I because of improvements in artillery. For example, the line formation cost the French 200,000 casualties in the first few months of World War I. Guerrilla warfare would not be used nearly as much since Marion helped to popularize it, and a different strategy of warfare would be used, like trench warfare or blitzkriegs. South Carolina would have fallen to the British because at one point only Francis Marion and his partisan band were defending South Carolina. If South Carolina fell to the British, then they could focus on moving to North Carolina and Virginia, increasing the likelihood that the United States might lose the war for independence. Only with Francis Marion, the United States could have won the war. Francis Marion changed the world by breaking the barriers of conventional warfare. After the war, Francis Marion went back to rebuild his plantation, married his cousin, and served as a South Carolina state senator, and died at the age of 63. He will forever be known as the Swamp Fox, the controversial man who broke barriers of conventional warfare and popularized the guerrilla warfare for both the United States and for Europe.